Hello, mayors. Hello, mayoresses. How are you all doing? I hope you're well. We're here to start what is, let's say, the most radical episode in the history of this channel. In terms of what was presented in the last episode and what will be presented in this one, major changes. Why? After finishing the other series with mods and Bahia de Barbosa, I went to save the game. I accidentally overwrote the save from Vanilla Island, and I ended up losing everything. Everything, because I didn't have a backup. As you know, I changed computers, right? Because I bought a new processor, a new SSD, and a new graphics card. And then I had to reinstall the game from scratch and my autosave was turned off. Look at that, I lost everything. Everything you're seeing here was redone from scratch in a very long process of 4 days, building at least 8 hours daily on those days. Taking advantage of the year-end break, which I'm still on, I'll show you the main differences because there were many. I couldn't possibly do everything exactly the same, right? However, the core idea stayed the same. The same, so as not to have... So it won't be so strange for you, okay? This episode will serve as an introduction about what was done. Well, we started here at Save Perdido, and in this one it wasn't. Different, so same intersection. On one side, the same farms that we had made. And over here, the city. So the city begins with this avenue like it used to be, right? Even the matter here of the tree planting has been fully redone. And this avenue divides two neighborhoods. The neighborhood on the left, this little square here, all planned out with alleys, right? So we kind of have a super block here with this street, this side street, this other side street, and this north street. And we have here 9 small blocks divided here into alley streets. More or less the layout I made in the lost save, with the difference that it's not so stretched out, right? By stretched out, I mean they were rectangular blocks, really long. Here they are still rectangles. They're just not as long. They're a bit more squared off. Because I believe this way it becomes a more realistic block. For those who aren't familiar with what I mean, we used to have blocks like this, really rectangular, right? Of course, I'm exaggerating here a little, and now we still use slightly smaller rectangular blocks, which is how it happens in most cities in the world that use this type of block. So that's basically it. Here, in the style of the houses in the lost save, we had the beach style, right? This style, see here, was also used when they redid the neighborhood next door. And this is the beach style that we had back in the main village, and I ended up changing it, so now there's no more of that beach style there. Here in the main village, we have houses in the Californian style, so you can notice the differences. And why the Californian style? Because when we start this medium density here, look, in the old save, semi-detached houses use the Californian style. So I said, man, if I'm going to put this Californian style medium density semi-detached housing, I'll also add the low density Californian suburb. So it doesn't end up being such a fruit salad, right? Kind of all mixed together. And then in the neighboring city, well, not really a city, right? It's all the same city. In the neighboring neighborhood, I kept the beach style because, after all, it's another neighborhood and that's where we diversify, but within the same neighborhood. I'm going to try to stick to the same pattern. So, all right, that was the main difference here in this suburb. Here, look on the mountain, the same pattern, the same idea as the old save, right? Building the houses with an Eastern European suburb style going up the hill. So it's pretty much the same thing, the same idea, because it's impossible to make it exactly the same, but the ideas are preserved here. That's right, in the old save, we had the farm here. Look, in this lower part, I chose not to build it. Also, if we turn on the topography, we can see there's a hill here. And that farm covering the hill didn't look so good. So I left it without, but I kept the idea for the farms over here. So over here, look, it's all farmland. We have this road. Farm on one side, farm on the other, farm on one side, farm on the other. And we've built up to where we had reached in the lost save. So we can move forward together, good. Moving forward, we have this other avenue here, more to the side, which in theory was meant to divide the industrial neighborhood. And that's pretty much what I did here. I had removed the industries in the lost save, but in this save, I'm going to leave them because they fit in nicely here and they're not bothering anyone in the residential areas. So on this avenue, we have a lot of offices right next to the industries. So they're offices. Even down here, it's all offices, so it's a very office-heavy avenue. And on the other side, right next to the houses, we have commercial buildings. So it's offices on one side and commercial on the other side, all right. And the houses start here, so they're pretty far from the industries, so the noise pollution doesn't really reach them, right? Around here, and we can manage to keep these industries pretty well accommodated here. Well, and we move forward here, showing the city as it is in its current state. This is the suburbs, right? It's basically the same thing. What I actually did differently was the central part. As you may have already noticed in the intro, well, here's the thing. In the old save, what really bothered me was the fact that the blocks were too straight. Just long, straight rectangles. And that perfectly square shape. It bothered me a bit since it's a far-off downtown, a city, right? Being the first subdivisions and street layouts of the city, so downtown tends to be kind of messy, right? So this avenue here in the old save, it used to come straight all the way here. And here it connected with another avenue, also straight. So it was a T. I decided to keep this T, but I made some small breaks. So we have this avenue here that makes a little curve this way, right? So it has a break here. And we have, look, this avenue, which comes up to meet the other one, makes a little turn this way, and then we take advantage of it. It creates this pocket here to place a subdivision close to the beach, and creates also this different layout. And the meeting of the avenues, I decided to put this roundabout here. I said, wow, this would be a good place for a square, right? Because it's where the main avenues of the city meet, right? The one that enters the city here in the neighborhood, and the one that connects east to west. So I put in this roundabout and decided to work on a square. Just a reminder, guys, I did everything from scratch, all without mods. It took a while, but it turned out nice. Here, I used the textures, the ones we have inside of the game itself. Vanilla, look, Tile Surface 3 is the one I put here, see? You can see that everything is nicely done. I left some grassy areas here, added some trees, and put a monument here, see? There's a bridge here and a gazebo here. People don't walk here in the middle of the square because it needs an invisible path, right? And we don't have a mod for that. I also can't set this as a park area because that's also a mod, so I can't do it. Still, it turned out well, and this open space amid all the density looks great. And here, of course, I kept using the Mediterranean-style lots. So all of this counts as medium-density residential area. Okay. Over here, following this avenue, we have our tourist center, which is in that old town style, just like we had in the previous save. So I kept the same idea, which is the street going up here. We have a civic square over here. The port, which also was in the old save. And in this one, the modification of the submerged terrain has also been made here to accommodate the passage of the ships. Here I added more modern buildings. This one is also in the Californian style. Over here, I already made the beach because the last episode of the Lost Save was making the beach. So I made a boardwalk here, okay? It's a little different. It has the boardwalk, a bike lane, and some vegetation, okay? I chose not to put palm trees or anything like that so we can preserve the more temperate climate characteristic of the island, right? After all, in the winter, the mountaintops get snow, so I believe there wouldn't be any palm trees around here. But I put some little trees over here. I added a shipyard park. I thought it would fit, right? So there's a big screen here for people to watch a Libertadores soccer match. This is almost like a Hard Rock cafe, right? There's a restaurant here, a cafe anyway, right in front of the sea. I made the bike path go around this hill here, like it was before, all the way to up here and over here, right? We have the extension of this other avenue here, right, which goes straight ahead, pretty much like it was before, right? Only the slope is a little different. And here it takes another turn, right? I'm choosing to make these sharp turns, in this case, instead of making a curve like this, right? With the road curved, I leave the sharp turn in this style, just like that, see? Because I think that in this downtown context, this is very welcome, because it really gives that feeling of something not so planned, right? So here we have another abrupt break, and here we end up at a new beach. In the old save, there was nothing, so I continued with a new beach here. So we have some modern businesses now, right? They aren't in the Mediterranean style, are they? I put a square here with a terrace. So you can take a look. It turned out really nice because it's right at the end here of this avenue, right? It's not in the middle, but right where the curve breaks. And whoever's in the square, right, has this view towards the other square, right? So it's an avenue where both ends have a square, right? And that's really cool. It happens a lot in more historic cities, for example, here in Buenos Aires. We have a famous obelisk here, Nueve de Julio. And coming this way, we have the Casa Rosada at Plaza de Mayo, right, which is also a famous tourist spot. And from this spot, you can see the avenue all the way down there, look, with the obelisk. So it's pretty much the same idea, an avenue connecting two tourist spots. From here, we can see the obelisk over there, even though we're at Plaza de Mayo, right in front of the Casa Rosada. That's why I like this spot, because it's really nice. Well, I also put a coffee shop here, finished the paths, and added a parking lot. This street here leads to the bike lane, and a lot of people walk and hang out here. Yeah, it turned out really awesome. In the future, I plan to remove this water pumping station from here. I think I can actually remove it now because I put it here if I'm not mistaken, right? This is for sewage, the water treatment plant. I removed the sewage discharge we had here in this bay, right, and put in this water treatment plant. Well, and here, right, at the intersection of this avenue with this other side avenue, right? Industries, offices, and commerce. I put a roundabout here, and from here also comes the highway that runs along the bay. And here, man, there was a lot of traffic problems. I'm going to talk about the city's traffic aspects because it's a separate topic since I faced a lot of traffic problems here. It's much calmer now, and I'll explain the logic of the roads later. For now, this is just a general overview, and the main problem was bicycles, okay? A lot of people said that bicycles would cause traffic problems in the city, and that's actually happening. So, man, I made this passage here for cyclists on the side, okay, and then it connects here. And I built a pedestrian walkway over here. I removed the crosswalk from here because it was blocking everything, and man, it ended up looking kind of futuristic, right? A bit dystopian, but it turned out well. Naturally, I added trees. Now, onto the other side. Here we have the same idea with the highway, bike lane, and pavement all the way to the other side. We also have the same idea here of connecting this highway up here. So you can see that we have two passages, one giving access to this part of the city and the other giving access to this part of the city. And man, here we had that neighborhood. Remember that I built a neighborhood here in the mountains? It's the only thing I didn't replicate in this new save, and I don't think I will, okay? Because in this new save, the part of the neighborhood that goes up to the mountain, it's right here at the foot of the mountain. I think that makes it a bit harder for us to have a street going up here. And man, I think this mountain looks beautiful like this. I don't know. I think that even from above, it looks very charming, like a passage to the other side. And so I wanted to preserve this natural feature. I don't know if you guys agree, right? But even with this road up here, it turned out really awesome. Anyway, leave a comment. If you guys comment a lot saying Barboza needs to have a neighborhood, then I'll redo it, okay? But I think this hill looks nice just the way it is. Here's the connection from the upper to the lower road with access points here. Perfect, nice, and neat. And here we have that factory, right? Here it's a little bigger. It ended up getting a bit bigger, but that's okay, right? So we have the factories. Then There's a one-way system that you can see, right? We have entrance and exit here, entrance and exit here. Then here is entrance only, here is exit only, here is entrance only, and here in the middle, right? I decided not to divide it into lots, so this big space was left, which I turned into a park manually. Turned out pretty cool, right? To give the industry some breathing room. The cool thing about it is that there aren't that many chimneys, right? Actually, there are quite a few chimneys, but the ones that are active here, releasing pollutants, are just a few, right? There are 6, right? That's not many for this many industries. The main heavy chimney is this one here. A gas power plant that I built to supply energy to the city. After all, we had to keep things running, right? Just with wind turbines, which would never be able to support a city of this size. So I placed it here, at this intersection. Do you remember that I couldn't redo it because it was made using Move It, right? In the original save? Look here, the video opened. See how it was? And when I tried to delete it, see, it wouldn't let me. Because since it was made with Move It, only with Move It and Anarchy. Actually, it could only be deleted with Anarchy, right? So I couldn't redo it or delete it. I had to do something crazy, like create an intersection next to another intersection, kind of around here. Look there, see how it turned out, right? And man, this one is ugly. It's weird. I said, man, I'm already redoing everything anyway. I installed Anarchy. Then you might say, hey Barboza, wasn't it supposed to be without mods? It was. But this map here, it was built with mods, and for you to use this map, you have to download it from the workshop. It's not native to the game. For example, when the game comes out for consoles in the future and there are no mods, you won't be able to play on this map, right? Use one of the native maps. Those don't have this problem, right? This one did. I went there, used Anarchy, deleted and redid the intersection here, and then I disabled Anarchy. It was supposed to be redone here, and it turned out well. It did. It's a type of intersection that I really enjoyed making there in Bahia de Barbosa, because you need to provide access to 4 sides. So this way, this way, this way, and this way, right? It's an intersection and more. You built just one overpass, which is great. Look, it's just this one. You don't need to keep building access ramps going around here and there, and it's very compact and all. I really like this style of intersection. It provides access to everywhere. So there you go. Intersection redone, industries redone over here. I created a wholesale area for everything that can stay here because you can't have a city here, okay? Since we have the industries there. Look how it is, the pollutants. The air pushes everything over here so the city can only be here. Look, it's from this road down. And also, besides air pollution, we have soil pollution and noise pollution, which unfortunately affects a bit of the city, okay? There's even a house here complaining. So, to keep some distance from the industries, I created this park manually, put in a soccer field, added this parking lot, placed a police station here, put in a skate park, a basketball court, and an outdoor gym. But there's a guy here complaining because this whole area still gets noise from the industry. All right, on this road coming from the other neighborhood, I put a little sound barrier right when you arrive because, man, if you're walking here in the park, you don't want to see cars and hear traffic noise. So I put a little sound barrier just on this side here, okay? And this sound barrier comes all the way down here because we have a neighborhood right next to us, right? So it's also a sound protection, even though this road here isn't that busy. For now. Because we're still planning to build an oil company here. This oil company is still extremely necessary because we're importing 680 tons. This is monthly, I believe it's monthly, of crude oil. So it's the biggest import here on the island. We're going to solve this problem here since this area has a lot of oil and resources. Everything is ready for us to build the structure and the highway ends here. And the neighborhood is following the same idea. We have these avenues here that come from the highway. So there's an avenue here, another one here coming from the highway, and another one here also coming from the highway. We have a neighborhood street. Normal, right? Making this connection from west to east. And the vertical ones here, look, are all alleys, right? So here, look, we have all alleys. Over here, all alleys too, and it creates this very countryside look. I did the detailing of the beach, so I even put some mini beaches over here too. Look, are people walking around? It's not really touristy, but I think it's probably cool. For example, living in a place like this where you step out of your house and you're already at the beach. I'll even put on a first-person view so we can take a look. Look, I went down the stairs here, looked at the alley, my neighbors, and here, look. A path to the beach, man. Just look at this, right? For you to take that morning walk. And you can keep going this way, look, because there's a path. Check this out. The person here has an ocean view, right? Many houses here do. And these paths, they give you access to the whole coastline here, as well as to the other streets and the other alleys, right? So you can come here, look, you get access to the avenue, or you can, look, just walk around here, really go for your walk. This one here became a big parking lot, so here we have, look, a lot of cars parked. Because, man, I believe this is going to be an area of great interest. And considering that, over here, we have the beach. So just look at the path by the beach. This is the main beach, right? So we can see this whole bay here. Look at the view of the bay. Everything is detailed with a path, trees, and little stones. Here we have a fire station, a basketball court, everything right here, and an outdoor gym. And the people, this place is really cool. There are more outdoor gyms here. There's a court, a tennis court, another basketball court, and here there's a clinic. And then this path comes around everything here. There's another pier here, which I think could also be used as a parking lot. Let's see if I can update this here and then people can park, right? There's no need to even have a traffic light here. And that's it. And then look, the paths come back here, so it's the same thing, right? Maybe you live on a little street like this and take your morning walk on the beach because the end of your street leads to a path here. See, it's like a little beach, right? Then it already connects with this other street and comes through here. Look, it already connects with this other street. So there are a few dead-end streets leading to the beach, right? And look, there's a pier here for you. Maybe to have a fishing hobby. And over here too, see? We could even have another alley with parking, right? A pier with parking over here, and that's it. There's a very crowded elementary school here. Taking advantage of the occasion, I'm going to add an extension wing. Oh, but it's not going to work, is it? There's no space for that. Yeah, later I'll have to build another school, but anyway, it's done here, rebuilt, right? This little village. And now I'm going to explain the traffic issues you can see here. Look, we already have 2 traffic jam notifications here. Sometimes they appear. Sure, there are some here, but most aren't from cars. See here, where is it? There aren't any cars. When you zoom in, then you get an idea of what this traffic jam is. It's all bicycles, man. We created the island of bicycles, okay? We have another traffic jam over here. Look, and it's all bicycles. Do I get bothered by bicycle traffic jams? Actually, no, okay? If it's not getting in the way of motor vehicles, it doesn't bother me because we're taking cars off the street, right? To be honest. And over here, it's probably the same thing. Look, here we have, look, a bicycle traffic jam in the lane, right? The cars are fine. Sometimes it gets stuck here too, but soon this will clear up. And man, this city was jammed during the whole construction. I didn't build it on pause, I built it with everything happening. Okay, to actually save my time. That's why we have 26 million in the bank, because this city didn't live on pause. It kept running, and then all this money piled up. So if you're in a stable situation, which is how I ended the last episode, if you let the game run, you'll eventually accumulate a lot of money. So our budget is like this: no loans, the taxation. I reduced it significantly, especially for our residential services. I think we can even start putting it here at 100%, because I had lowered some at the beginning. Look, fire and rescue can also be set at 100%. Police was at 90%. Let's restore it to 100. I'll discuss transportation separately in a moment. Communication can be increased to 100%, because now that I know the importance of the post office, I've already set up the mail system since the beginning of the city. So we have an agency here, another one here, and honestly, we're even missing a few mailbox spots, right? Especially here in these areas. Here it's kind of reddish, see? So we can cover the places that don't have any. I'm adding a mailbox to Civic Square, right? It also makes sense to have one here on Rua de Praia, right? That was without coverage. Over here is also without coverage. So I'm gonna put a mailbox here on this side. A mailbox here on the avenue would make sense too, right? Well, now everything in this neighborhood is covered. There's no reason to put a small post office here. Maybe it makes sense to put it here, and in the other spots, just the mailboxes. All right, right? Coverage is okay. Now, let's go. Traffic problem. This is going to be a little hard to explain to you. Let me try to find the best angle. I think this way I might be able to show the avenues. We have this one, and this one, right? The game is considering the same one. What about everything else? These are neighborhood streets, these ones adapted. So we have this neighborhood street going horizontally, and this neighborhood street going horizontally, and this neighborhood street going horizontally, which is from this more planned suburban neighborhood, right? And we have these ones going vertically. There's this one and this one, which run parallel to the avenues on the edges, these neighborhood streets. They were two-way at first, then even in the old save, I changed them to one-way. But then what did I do, man? Instead of leaving 2 lanes with parking, I made it 3 lanes and a bike lane, okay? So it basically became an avenue 2, one-way, and that's how it turned out. Check this one out, which is the first one. As soon as you enter the city, it only goes one way. Often the guy comes in on this road, reaches the roundabout, and wants to leave the city. He takes this one to leave. This one only goes one way. The next one, it comes, alley, alley. The next one only comes. See, it only comes, right? Until it connects here to this avenue. So it links this avenue here to this avenue in this direction, then comes alley, alley. And then I took it out, man. Crosswalk and traffic light from all the connections with the alley, okay? I only left crosswalk and traffic light with these streets, and the next one with 3 lanes. It just goes. So here's the thing. This one only goes, this one only comes, and this one only goes. On these other streets here, look, these ones in the middle, it's the same thing, okay? Look, this one here, it only goes, right? There are only 3 lanes going, then an alley with 3 lanes coming. Next are 2 alleys, then the avenue, right? So this suburb is set up this way. When you get here to the center, then things get a bit more complicated. Okay, this last street here that we saw, which connects this intersection to this other intersection, here on this avenue, going from right to left, it will have, look, it's next street here with 3 lanes, but it's not a straight line, see? It starts here and goes up to here in the opposite direction, so it goes from the left to here on the right. And then, look, these 2 streets here, this one and this one, they keep going toward downtown. So this one here, man. I mean, I even forgot how to edit the size of the street. Well, but it keeps going here. And it's all one way. Look, with 3 lanes crossing here. Downtown goes around the Civic Square around here and keeps going this way. Okay, and then it ends here. So if you look, check this out, it's a U. Around here, okay? Here it forms a circle since anyone reaching this intersection can turn right and then goes around. So look, it forms a circle around the square, okay, to help with the flow of traffic. If I show you the direction of the traffic, look, that's exactly it. See? It goes around like this. And then this other street here, look, in this direction it comes, look, all the way from down here. So it also comes from this more central area and goes all the way to the suburbs. This shape shows the one-way streets, including the alleys, which are also one-way. Few people use it since only authorized users are allowed. Either municipal services, like for example the funeral car and the garbage truck, or people who live on this street. So for this street, only people who live in this building will access it. That's why they're so calm, right? With only a few vehicles passing by, like the garbage truck. And then there was a problem, man, because whoever is here in this area, look, this is an area where people live and there are businesses. So it's a pretty busy area, especially because of the port. And then I had a problem with people here being able to access this road, you know? and either end up here on the avenue or come over here, in this area, go to the other side and so on, or come over here. Exactly because of this road in one direction taking people away. But to get here, if you look right, we don't have any streets coming in except for the alleys or this avenue, okay? I had to make an alternative which ended up here on this side road. So, whoever is here on this avenue can access this side road, which from here on, look, has 2 lanes going and 1 coming back. So it's mainly a flow of people going up to here, the historic center, the tourist center of the island. And then you have easy access to the civic square, the port. And once you're here, you can use this road to leave. So that's how I structured it, man, for here. I think the only 2-way street in this center is this one, okay? Here. In fact, I put 2 lanes that will join here at the U. Remember I said we have a U going around the square here? So it's going to join with this U. That's why there's a traffic light to prevent traffic conflicts. It's a funnel. Everything narrows here. Then the guy decides whether to take the avenue right, left, or go straight ahead. Anyway, there are several accesses, several directions, a lot of bike lanes. Basically, a city made up of alleys and avenues. There are 3 main avenues in these neighborhood streets with 3 lanes, with bike lanes, okay? They're all over the city, from downtown to here in the suburbs, connecting everything and also draining everything, so the flow is always constant. I faced many traffic problems while building this. Honestly, the issue was resolved only after I created a district and checked these options. I believe that's what fixed the traffic problem. We have the gated community policy, where only residents and workers are allowed to enter the district. This increases the well-being of the residents and reduces crime in the area. It doesn't affect municipal services. And man, I think having this active really improved the traffic, but I think we stopped receiving tourists, okay? I also started energy awareness and cycling programs, which is why so many people are biking. Without the policy, there were already quite a few people. When I activated this, then it really took off. Combustion engine ban. So there were a lot of cars on the street. I said, so only electric cars will be allowed here. I installed speed bumps, which reduce vehicle speed and also decrease accidents. There were a lot of accidents happening. I got people to start recycling, and now I'm charging for parking. In other words, it's really for you to go by bike or use public transportation. In the last episode, we created a public transportation line, and it's been redone here. So it leaves here from the port and goes, I'm even going to change its color. I'll make it bright red here. So look, it leaves from here, right? It comes down the avenue, all the way to this square here, right? The roundabout square. Then it goes through the roundabout, comes this way, look, down this avenue, reaches this other little beach, and gets on the highway. It always stops, right? There's a stop here, and a stop here, another one here, and then down here at the port, right? Always stopping. And then it takes the whole road. There's no stop here because there are no more neighborhoods in the mountains, so it doesn't make sense to have a stop. There's a stop here for the people who work in the industry. So you go down here, right? I put in all the pedestrian crossing support and everything else. So look, with 33 people arriving on this bus, the stops always have bike parking. Okay, so you can park your bike, see? A lot of people got off. Look, from 33, it went down to 11 industry workers who can also come by bike. See, there are some little ramps for you to cross here at the crosswalk, right? And then this bus comes through here at the roundabout and enters the neighborhood. There's another stop here, right in front of the beach, right? A tourist spot. And then it ends here at the neighborhood bus terminal, right? And this is a very, very, very busy line. You can see it had over 1,000 passengers. When I changed the color, it dropped to 900 here, but it's still very busy. Look, all the buses are full. Look, 80 people on the bus, right? I want to see the bus behind. 71. This one also has 80. It's a crowded line. The fare price is set to 0, and I've already put in the maximum number of vehicles we could, 16. Can't handle it? We need more transit lines. There's a second transit line here that I didn't do with you guys. I did it off camera. It's essentially a line that starts here at the port terminal and goes outside the city. This is our external connection. See, so it's for people who are moving to the city to arrive by bus. So you can arrive either by ship, through the port, or you can also arrive by bus. These are the two alternatives to using private transportation, private vehicles. So guys, that's basically the situation. The same concept. It was impossible to do everything exactly the same. I decided to change a few things, and I think it turned out amazing, okay? I think it turned out really good. When I lost the save, I felt really sad. I got depressed. I had to take a deep breath. I even recorded a story for the channel's Instagram. Anyway, I got really depressed, okay? And then I said, yeah, man, there's no other way. There's nothing I can do. I'm going to have to rebuild the city or start a series from scratch. But when I start a series, I have a commitment to you guys. Whoa, someone honked out here on the street. I hope it didn't get picked up by the mic. I have a commitment. Oops, someone honked. I have a commitment to you guys. When you click on episode 1 to watch a series, you're expecting quality content to entertain you. So we end up kind of creating a bond, a contract there, and it really hurts me to break it. That's why I decided not to start a new series. Because otherwise, all those 6 episodes I had already recorded would stop making sense. In a way, they would lose a lot of their value. So that's why everything is redone here, and I want to take a walk with you, okay? Let's take a walk starting here from the entrance of the city, because even though it turned out nice, we changed a lot of things. And man, it hurt me to do these things and not be recording for you guys, so you could see the change and how it was done. But I didn't have time to record. When I'm building without recording, I build much faster, I build more focused. When I'm recording, let's check out the alley to see how it looks. I also have to not only build, but I also have to present it to you in a very interactive way so you can be entertained. And me, when I'm building without recording, I can focus more on the construction, okay? And I also didn't have time to present anything. I had to build so I could release this episode for you this Saturday. I wanted you to follow the reconstruction, but it wasn't possible. But I'm here showing everything again. All the changes, all the logic, walking around with you so you can get familiar with this new version of the city. Which, in the end, despite the sadness, it turned out to be beneficial, right? It was a misfortune that turned out for the best. Let's go back to the avenue, because I'm going to take the avenue, and I want to get to the roundabout square, right? Yeah, let's check over there and make the most of this opportunity. Let's check out this side here. And anyway, it was something that happened for the best. I think the city is much more beautiful now, much better structured. And we have a new starting point to continue the episodes, right? Here we're arriving at the more central area, so we already have the first Mediterranean-style buildings here. Over here, we have the little houses in the Californian style, right? They're attached. I think they're also a tourist attraction, right? Because people who come to see these charming little alleys will definitely want to take a picture. Okay, and post it on Instagram. Colorful little houses of Barboza cities. Here there's a neighborhood street adapted into an avenue, right? As I've already explained anyway, look how cool it looks, right? And well, now I'm going to try to find a way back to the avenue. Look at how many bike racks there are, okay? I also placed a lot of them around the city. Here, I'm going to go back to the main avenue. Here is the intersection of a 3-lane street with another 3-lane street, so it's actually a pretty busy intersection. And here is the division between the semi-detached houses and the ones from the Mediterranean, right? It's basically this street here that separates one thing from the other. And here, if I'm not mistaken, this is already the avenue. Yeah, that's right. So this is the avenue we used to enter the city. We're back. Let's cross over. Because we have access up ahead to our roundabout square. So here the streets are pedestrian walkways. Here we have, look, all the space, the whole area of the square. Man, you can take some really awesome photos here, huh? I traveled to Barboza cities. Look at the roundabout. Over there, we can see one of the avenues, and here we can see the other avenue, right? All of them meeting here, and down there is the avenue we came from. Look, a lot of people on bicycles, right? The square with its attractions. And let's head this way toward the downtown, the tourist center. Here we have a big avenue packed with cyclists and also people waiting for the bus, right? That's why I mentioned the urgency of having more buses in the public transportation service. This way, I'm going to walk in the middle of the street, as if we were a car now, okay? This way, we're going to have an empty space because in the last episode, I hadn't built here either. So I decided to leave it empty here too, so we're at the same stage of construction, man. And all of this here are people who are going to take the bus to come to the port, because after here, it's straight to the port. And the port is right next door, man. You just go down the street. People are kind of lazy. But here, look at the old European city style, okay? So it's a historic and touristy little village. There are a lot of little bars around here. Let's go to the Civic Square, okay? There we can also have another view, very touristy, to take a picture for Instagram. Look at that, right? And enjoy. Well, over here we can already see the sea. So here's a big slope going down. Look, this guy went up by bike. This one is determined, and over here it also goes down. Actually, from this square, it's all downhill, right? So here we have a little slope, and all the streets are made in a boardwalk style. So people stroll around, right? And you can really enjoy it too, right? Over here too, look, there are some tables outside. People are relaxing. And over here, we have a port, right? Look, there's a restaurant here on the corner with lots of tables. You can have a burger, drink a draft beer, and then let's go to the beach, right? Over here, we have a port, and in this direction, we can see the waterfront, right? There's a huge parking lot here, right next to the port, so people park. A lot, man. This is worse than Holland, worse than Amsterdam. There are so many bikes, it really became the island of bicycles, man. And over here is the undeveloped area, right? And look, here we're already at the beach, okay? We already have a very detailed shoreline here. We're back to the Mediterranean style. Here we have a little square, look. And from here we can see what the shoreline looks like, right? It's really nice and peaceful. Whoever lives here is living really well, right? Let's go into a little alley so we can see how it is. Look, there are cyclists around here too in these spaces. I took care of this area. Look how you can see all my care, all my attention when I rebuilt the city here, okay? Look at how beautiful this little square is, right? And you might be asking, Barboza, why? Look at that guy climbing up there. That one's doing well, huh? Why didn't you do it like this in the other episodes? Have you ever done it this way? Why did you make it all square, right? Why didn't you already make it with the streets broken up like this? Because of this, man. Look, when the block isn't a perfect square, you end up with a lot of these gaps like this, see? The buildings don't end up stuck together. But here I managed to do it in a way that, even though the buildings aren't stuck together, they still look natural. For example, this one ends here and another starts there, but looking at it like this, there's no problem. It actually looks acceptable. I made paths with alleys here so we can get in. Look, everything is broken, these buildings, see? Not even this one. That one over there doesn't fit with this one or that one, but it still looks kind of natural, see? It turned out really cool. So that's the care, that's the attention I put into it, right? And that's why we have this cool look here too. Look, this one doesn't connect over there, but I made a path here, see, inside that also keeps everything well connected, both to one side and to the other. See, over here too. And it turned out nice. I thought it looked really cool in the end. We're going to get to the big avenue here, right? This big avenue is the one that leads to the other little beach over there. So let's take a look at the other little beach. It's really busy here, see? We're taking advantage of the empty corner where no building was built. Broken, right, in its angle, see? So I put a little square here to make up for this space that wasn't naturally used by the game. And here we have, look, this square at the end of the avenue, right, which comes from the roundabout square over on the other side of this avenue. And here we have this little square, see, that people can enjoy, right? Right here next to it, there are some tables. And here there's a coffee shop, so people are here enjoying themselves. Right in front of where? Right here, look, facing the sea. And over here, we have that walkway with pedestrians on top, and here the bike lane underneath where we have a really crowded bus stop over there. And here the circular walkway on top of this roundabout, which I thought turned out nice. It didn't turn out bad at all. And here is the avenue right on the side of the city. This is the avenue where we have offices, right? The office avenue, which can be seen here and can be accessed all the way down there at the other end of the city. I'm going to look for a street to turn onto. There's a pedestrian walkway now. This street had a lot of traffic issues, so I decided to add the walkway. It's parallel. Let me go in here through the buildings. It's parallel to this avenue. Here, okay. So the next street here, look, is already a pedestrian walkway. And here there are some more modern buildings, right, that I chose to put in. Later, I still have to edit these gaps between them, add some vegetation, and it will give access to the little center with alleys and pedestrian walkways. Which you already know here in the Mediterranean style, and that we've walked around a lot here. Just look at this episode, right? I also added some parking lots because people keep driving around and around looking for parking. So there are plenty of them around here. Here's another alley. Anyway, it turned out really nice to walk around. It's a very pleasant city, great for doing everything on foot, and even the streets are very calm. Here for pedestrians, there aren't many cars because of that policy I implemented in this area. Look, this is already our roundabout square. In the end, we ended up here. The way it's located turned out really nice because it's kind of central, right? So basically, most of the paths lead to it. And the irregularity that a historic center deserves is here, represented in the new center of Barboza Island. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you forgive me for all these sudden changes and for not letting you follow this reconstruction process. But I know that in the end, you enjoyed it, and you'll understand too. It wasn't intentional. I never planned to redo everything. But I know there's one thing you guys are really good at, and that's valuing the work here on the channel. After all, you're still watching up to now, right? You made it to the very end. I'm sure you already left a like at the beginning of the video. If you haven't, you can still do it. You use your hyper options here on the channel every time a video comes out, and I'm sure you've been subscribed for a long time, right? So guys, I want to wrap up the episode here. Many thanks to our council members whose names are appearing right now as a way of saying thanks in the credits. You are the pillar and the foundation of this channel. Many thanks also to our secretaries whose names are also appearing here in the credits as a way of saying thanks. And they are watching this video in advance. As well, many thanks also to the vice presidents, Orbital, Giovanni Freitas, Jose Fernando, Nagal, Pedro Mendez, and Refugio. We're always together. A big hug and see you next time. Bye.